Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Endurance Insights with myself, Coach Mark Cullen, coach to a number of competitive to elite triathletes, runners, and CrossFit athletes. And I try and give you tangible advice each week on here to help you with your endurance training and racing. So let's get into it today. I'm just going to hammer off a bunch of recent questions and topics I've been going over. First, an update on my side of things. I touched on it a little bit about my Eugene Marathon prep, but I ran into a bit of a snag, and that was I pushed things a little too close between a Sunday long run that I did a big progression, like 20-mile long run. And I was a little bit tired because I'd traveled 2 days before back from a trip to the Dominican with my pops. And then I got a massage on the Monday after that, ran my regular Tuesday hilly run. And then the Wednesday, I had more of a chill sort of workout plan, just a little bit of tempo work. But ended up, I had given one of my athletes who's a similar pace to me a sort of over flux workout. So I think it was like 12K continuous where you were doing like 1.5K at half marathon effort or a bit quicker, and then 500-meter float in between them. And honestly, I probably shouldn't have done it and went a little bit too hard and pulled up with some Achilles issues, which I've been battling since then. Never had Achilles issues before, but it's quite a frustrating one because you don't get very good blood flow to it. It takes a long time to sort of recover from it. So I thought I was out of the woods last week and kind of pushed it again. I've been battling again this week. So I'm hoping I can right the ship. I'm going to take a few more days pretty much off. Hopefully I can get back to some biking tomorrow, but probably we'll just bike it out for the rest of the week. My fitness is in a good spot. I just need to get myself back where I can put at least some run consistency in. I've already run like 3 or 4 30+ K runs, so I'm not worried about the distance or anything, but being able to get back and run some of that race pace stuff and just get some consistency back is going to be my key before Eugene, which is on April 26th. So it's coming quickly. I'm not in panic mode yet, but not ideal. Hopefully I can right the ship here. Next one I want to talk about 3 of my favorite legendary workouts who are named after some famous people or some famous programs. So one of them is called the Mona Fartlek. This is an awesome 20-minute workout you can do. That's a good top end speed one, but you just get a good hit within 20 minutes. So this one, usually 10 to 15 minute warm up, do a couple 15-second or 100-meter strides. So it could be 3 times 100-meter fast, 100 meters, walk, shuffle. And then what you do in this Mona Fartlek is it takes 20 minutes, the main set. So in terms of the speed, each of these, you're kind of starting around an 8 out of 10 and finishing around a 9 out of 10 as the reps get shorter here. And you have equal recovery off the interval each time. So first one is 2 times 90 seconds hard, 90 seconds easy. So usually it's a very easy jog shuffle between them. So 2 by 90 hard, 90 easy, 4 by 60 seconds hard, 60 seconds easy, 4 by 30 seconds hard, 30 seconds easy, 4 by 15 seconds hard, 15 seconds easy. So the 90s more like an 8 out of 10. The 15s, it'll get hard more like a 9 out of 10. And the rest is so short on those ones. You're pretty much just slowing down and you got to go again. But it's a great bang for your buck one, especially if I'm on holidays or on a treadmill or something. It's just an easy one to do to get a good little top end hit that's efficient, especially if you're doing a 15-minute warm up, that 20-minute one, 10-minute cool down. You get a good session within 45 minutes. So that's one of my favorite ones. This is an epic one. I rarely give this to a lot of people unless they're an advanced athlete, but this one's called the Michigan. So again, similar warm up, 10 to 15 minutes, do some strides. And then what the Michigan is essentially what you're doing is with this, you get 2 to 3 minutes between every aspect of this. And the main part is you do 1 mile on the track, kind of around threshold pace. And then between each of these track reps, you go off and you do 1 mile tempo and near a half marathon or marathon pace. So I'll run you through it. 1 mile threshold on the track, 1 mile marathon pace or tempo, and you do take this off the track and go do it on a road or trail nearby. Something you can get to within 1 or 2 minutes after, because the rest is 2 to 3 minutes. Come back to the track, 1200 at 10K pace, leave the track, go do that mile tempo again. Come back to the track, 800 at 5K pace, 1 mile tempo, 400 at 3K to mile pace, quite hard, 9.5 out of 10, don't quite go balls to the wall on it. and then cool down after that. So you've done this cut down on the track, a mile, 1200, 800, 400, but you've had these miles tempos in between to bring some extra fatigue. So there's a lot of quality work in one like this. So especially if you do it the first time, you can always do shorter for the tempo sections off the track. Usually keep the same track structure of the 16, 12, 8, 4, cutting down on pace. But you could either trim back the speed or the distance on some of those sort of tempo sections between that. So that's a fun one. Final one is a legendary one that people a lot of times say is a marathon predictor workout. So they'll get people to do like 8 to 10 by 1000, but 8 to 10 by 800 meters with 200 meters or 90 seconds, nice easy walk shuffle between them. And they say it's a marathon predictor because if you are, say, trying to run a 3-hour marathon, you should be able to run this 10 by 800 in roughly 3 minutes per rep. So that's about 345K, 6-minute mile pace. And if you can do that, you should be able to run a 3-hour marathon. I don't think it's really super valid. When I get close to my marathon, honestly, these are supposed to be like 5K to 10K pace, not marathon pace. It's just the marathon time is the time of the 800. I find my 5K pace and 10K pace and marathon pace are so almost close at that point that at night might not be super reflective of your marathon time. But I do think 800s are a good quality workout, especially off of shorter rests like that. So you could start out at like 10K pace and do a very tight cut down as you go, anywhere 6 to 10 reps. Just be careful if you're doing 10 reps of 800 and you're doing them all at 5K pace, that's 8K at 5K pace. That's why I like to start more like 10K pace, work it down to 5K pace, because then you get 5 miles, 8K of work kind of that averages out around a 5-mile pace if you cut it all the way down. So a good quality workout, but you're getting breaks between them. Cool. So those are some of my favorite workouts recently. Next one I wanted to talk about is we're in kind of the late phase of winter before you're going outside. And if you're a triathlete, I recommend making sure that you are spending time on the trainer in the aero position. So anything like 105% of FTP or below, I try and get my athletes, especially on intervals, to spend more and more time in that aero position. What this does is just make sure that you are set up so when you get outside, you know you can get a lot of comfort and time in that aero position, but also you can push good power. And what people find is when you're on the sort of stationary bike indoor on your TT bike, you don't get very much movement at all on the trainer, versus when you go outside, you get a little bit of movement and a little bit more give. And a lot of times people are more comfortable when they go outside and can push more power. So if you can nail it inside, it goes such a long way to helping you when you get outside to be able to hold aero for way longer. And just make sure you get it, especially before you go outside too. Make sure maybe if you haven't in a year or two, go get your bike fitter to do a quick tune up on you, just to make sure if anything's changed on the mobility side of things or anything you're struggling with, get that addressed now. So when you go outside, you can focus on what you're trying to do in terms of the quality. But yeah, 105% and below, do as much in aero as you can. I understand late in the reps, or like say you're doing a 4x8 threshold type of workout, I totally understand. Then that last like 2 or 3 minutes when you're starting to work hard and you feel the power slipping a bit, maybe you'll slip out of aero, but over time, maybe aim to do all of those in aero. Next one I wanted to talk about was this social media trap I see about. I did a post about this calling the hard truth about signing up for a race. And we're in this social media age where you sign up for the race and a lot of times you post it up and people are hyping you up about it. And you get this like adrenaline boost of like, oh man, it feels like I've already started on this path. But the hard truth is the race itself and the sign up are pretty much 1% of the journey. And really the focus needs to be on this other 99% of the journey. And it's going to be freaking tough. Like there's going to be probably early mornings in there, times where you got to say no to plans just because if you're going to be out late, it's going to affect you for the next day or two after, especially if you're waking up for workouts. You're going to have long sessions out there where if you're prepping for a 70.3 or an Ironman or a marathon and you're out there for 2, 4, 6 hours on a weekend day or your day off out there, like you got to be prepared to fall in love with the process, have some people to do it with, or just, again, remember that you love it and make it and set it up so you do enjoy it. So even if that means riding the trainer, watching some movies so you'll get the work done, or picking a great route or going out at a time of day where you're going to enjoy it. If you can fall in love with the process, that is huge for making it sustainable and wanting to do the training required to have performance. Remember, I'm more of a performance coach, less on the just finisher or get off the couch side of things. And then eating and sleeping, they're a second job as part of this. If you actually want to do the work and get the adaptations from it, you need the recovery side of things. So training is great, but you only get certain percentage of adaptations if you don't take care of all of those things outside of training. So this is a 24/7 job here if you want to have peak performance. So you just can't leave anything on the table here. Do your strength and mobility, do all of these things, and they add up to some big things over time. But miss out on them and it goes the opposite way, and you get injured or you build fatigue holes or you just plateau or go the opposite way. But yeah, it's just all this stuff, all this work allows you to sort of show up confident on race day, trust the work you've done. And my favorite quote that I had heard before was, in racing, we don't rise to the level of our expectations. We fall to the level of our training. So we can have all we want on the board, but there's never lucky good days, but there is sometimes unlucky bad days. Like that happens, but you can't just fake a good result here. That has to come from quality work and your body actually being able to do it. But there's days where we don't perform at our max. Next one I wanted to talk about was some books and podcasts I'm really loving recently. Maybe we'll wrap it up with that. But some of my favorite ones on the Triathlon Hour, there's been the Road to Oceanside with Jackson Laundry, Ari Clow, and Justin Reale. Really good insights into what it takes to be a sort of pro triathlete at sort of the top to mid level there. These guys are awesome. They talk transparently about their training and their struggles and sickness. And Ari just had a tough race where he was having a breakthrough race and dealt with some blisters and had to DNF. So just a really cool, they're just really good guys to listen to as well. Another one, Out and Back podcast. I've always been a huge Rory Linkletter fan, so love listening to him and Jacob Thompson. They've had some fantastic guests on. Recently had Connor Mantz on there, so highly recommend listening to that episode. Some pretty cool insights there. Rory was also on the Jake Dearden podcast recently. That was a really cool insight into his training and his mindset, how he's like very much a high performer and competitive person, but the fact that he has a family and that he has a coach and he has other things, he's not so stringent on everything being perfect. And that helps him when he travels on to races and he doesn't have to have the perfect diet or the perfect sleep, and he doesn't get himself worked up over races, and he's social with his competitors along the way, but that doesn't take his edge off. He's one of the feistiest guys once that gun goes off. So I thought that was a really healthy way, balanced way to approach it, to not have to be this crazy cutthroat person. Everyone's going to be a little different, but I thought his take was very refreshing. Next one I've been enjoying is some UK guys. That's from the Easy Double podcast, especially the London Calling episodes that have had Jake Smith, Tim Vincent, and Ren to Japan, which is one of my favorite YouTube channels. That's Jake Bearclough, the UK guy who moved to Japan. And he just trains so hard, and he is so fun to, he's such a refreshing person to watch again, like Rory. Apparently I like all the ginger runner guys here. And then another great one, just especially I'm doing more in the CrossFit space, the Brute Strength podcast. I work with a bunch of those athletes, but their coaches are awesome too and talk a lot about their training there. So the Brute Strength podcast. And two books I'm reading, Boys in the Light, which was a World War II book. Oh man, had me tugging on the heartstrings at the end of that when they bring all of the soldiers and some of the people from the internment camps and stuff together at the end. It was quite a good story. And then a movie that's coming out soon, Project Hail Mary. That was a really interesting book as well. So toss me a comment or send me a message what you're reading or any podcasts you recommend. I'm always open to new ideas there. Hope you have an awesome week. We will catch up next week on any other topics. And as always, toss that like and subscribe. That helps me get the word out there and keep doing what I'm doing for free with these episodes. And as always, if you have any topics you want me to cover, send me a message, comment here on YouTube or on Spotify, and I will get to them for sure. Have a good one. We'll catch you next week.